Welcome back to the Now Morning Show, just shy of 20 minutes before 7 o'clock, and we are continuing the conversation and our collaboration with the Art Society of Trinidad and Tobago. Joining us this morning in studio is artist and so much more, Tracey Alonzo. Good morning, Tracey.
Morning, Natasha.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you on the show. And I mean, Tracey, I know as soon as I walked in this morning, I was absolutely just taken to a different place, even though it's right here at home in Trinidad and Tobago with your work. And I'm so looking forward to learning a bit of your method. But before we get into that, let's talk about you. Can you walk us through your journey? Because your journey is absolutely amazing, a whole 360.
Yes, it definitely is a 360 because I think my earliest memory of art would be with my mother at the dining table, her teaching me how to draw a sailing boat. And very graphically, I could actually remember the image amazingly, right? And remembering thinking to myself, oh, wow, that's amazing, you know? And it was a very simple thing occurred from my dad. And from there, of course, I was able to have two great mentors at school in St. Joseph Convent. And after that, I said, you know, I had imagined going into convent thinking I wanted to be a doctor. And leaving after being mentored by people like Yvonne Popwell, who was my next door neighbor. She saw my potential, and, you know, my art teachers, that when I left school at 15, I was like, what am I going to do? I was lucky enough to get into an advertising agency as an apprentice with some people who actually own advertising agencies and that kind of thing now. And then decided, okay, yes, this is definitely what I wanted to do. I went off to Miami and got my degree in communication design. And after that, coming back, I spent a lot of time working in advertising agencies in all kinds of different positions because I went into production and that kind of thing. So I was, you know, studio manager and production manager and those kind of things. Then I went into printing and publishing and packaging, right? With, well, at the time, the largest printing company in the Caribbean. So I've had different positions. I had different incarnations in that company. Then I went into, after doing printing and packaging and all that, I went into the media. So, and produced the magazines for the, you know, publications and that kind of thing. And then eventually, before I left, I became the operations manager of the company.
So, Tracey, I have to jump in here because you just mentioned so many things, and we started off with you being beautifully, I would say, influenced by your mum and the sailboat. But you've just shared, I mean, things that have spanned, of course, our region and internationally. But yet your art is still here. So, where was art in the journey, and how come it's still here? Let's speak.
Okay, because of course, so I got into the corporate. Yeah. So I didn't have time really for that, and somewhere along the line, when I was in media, in the media company, I was producing the 100th anniversary of Port of Spain. And I was working very closely with Angelo Bissing. And of course, I was able to get, you know, all these wonderful photographs of Trinidad and all the old houses and that kind of thing. And I thought to myself, you know, I should paint one of these houses. And I painted my first watercolor of the house. And Angelo was like, Tracey, you need to be painting more of these things. I will write the history, right? Wow. And so I started, but unfortunately, Angelo passed. But I continued in his honor to paint, you know, and now, you know, people commission me to do houses and that kind of thing now. But it really was not a plan. And then, of course, at the time when COVID came, I was running a small content creation company, producing a lot of work for one of your competitors. And unfortunately, we had to close. Right? And so I had time on my hands, and I said, you know what? God has given me a talent. Let me, right? So I had my own registered company already. So I do that, I content creation, etc. during the day, you know, so I do TV shows and that kind of thing. But also, I paint in the night.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So minimal sleep, to say the least.
Yeah, many times, you know, many times when my family are now waking up, I'm now going into bed. To wake up at 8 o'clock, so do normal.
The life of a creative, and such an accomplished creative as well. So because we have so many beautiful pieces on set, we have to start to go through them. So we're going to start with the one that I believe is behind me, if I'm not mistaken. The first one that we would have seen on set, Moko Jumbies, which I'm also seeing is a bit of a trend with the Mokos on some of your work.
So my journey with Mokos actually started because a client commissioned me to do a Moko. And I said, well, I don't paint off of anything that isn't my image. So what I do, how I start is I capture images all through the air. Okay? And so I actually kind of refer to the images to get the movement, the scale, the perspective and that kind of thing. Because, certain artists could just do it out of their head. I prefer to kind of refer, even if it's not the entire photo, use that as a reference. So I capture images all the time. So she had to wait a year for me to start.
Wow. Yeah.
Exactly. Right?
This is, it's absolutely beautiful. The choice of color as well. Absolutely lovely. And so for those of you who are just joining us, we're chatting with Tracey Alonzo this morning on the Now Morning Show with just, again, breathtaking, perfect, of course, for the throes of the carnival season. Definitely quite a diligent worker as well. So we, just taking a look at this one here, again, mind blown. But the one that sits right behind me, something that's quite fascinating, is that we see it it's black and white, but yet tells a story and is so colorful.
Okay, so the one behind you is Carnival Saturday Line. It's actually at the intersection where you have this, it's like this strip that you go into the savannah and where the walkway is. That's your perspective, where I stand. So it's actually people going to go down the walkway and people hanging on the corner.
And we all know this corner. I think that's one of the things that it brings it to life. Now, we were chatting off air, and one of the things that you were saying is that this is something that you actually give patrons magnifying glasses.
Yes.
To look into. Walk us through that process.
Because when it's actually a painting with ink.
Okay.
So it's not acrylic. At least this is not acrylic. Some of them are mixed media. This is actually just India ink, applied with a very fine paintbrush. So you don't really see the beauty of it unless you have, like I actually work with a magnifying glass on, right? So when you actually see it close up with the magnifying glass, you really then see all the little ends of the leaves and those kinds of things that I put in each individual leaf, etc. The expression of people's faces and all of that.
And Tracey, it's intriguing to know, how long does a piece like this take?
Ooh, it could take months. It could take months, generally.
And is it this is something from memory, or did you go and snap a pic?
No, most things, as I say, I take a photograph and I have a reference.
Okay.
Because, scaling and that kind of thing, for me, it's easier if I have some kind of reference. And, I kind of refer to what kind of leaf it has, because when you start looking at different things, you will see that, well, a mango leaf has a different kind of shape, and a breadfruit leaf has a different shape. So, yes.
Now, I know we're going through the paintings, but I have to ask as well, given, of course, being in corporate, but also doing art, did you find that peace while you were doing your creative work while also navigating the corporate life? Was that maybe like a safe space to go to?
Yes, I zone out.
Yeah.
When I go in my studio, I put on my music loud, to say the least, right? And that kind of helps me zone out.
Beautiful. And speaking about zoning out, this one that we're seeing on screen now, Carlo Street.
Yes.
This is, you could zone out on this and just go through it all day. Just tell us a little bit about how you brought this one to life and what mediums have been used particularly.
Right. So that is a mixture of ink, dyes, and because Dr. Martens dyes, and acrylic. Dyes? Yeah.
How does that work?
It's very much like an ink, but the nice thing about the dyes is that you can, if you have a problem, you can. It's very workable. So you could use bleach to strip out it down to white, that kind of thing. So the ink is very permanent, right? So the black areas are like the Indian ink that is, it's not going to come off, right? But the dye will help the color bounce. This is
definitely quite intricate, to say the least. And I'm assuming, as you would have said, this one can take quite a while. But in a case like this, how long does it take? And does it change the process at all?
That also took quite a while, just because of the scale mainly. And then for me to decide how I was doing it, because what has happened is, that's Little House where 3 Canal they live, Peter this is actually Peter Mitchell's house, originally, right? And so I love it. It's such a quaint little house. But because it got so overgrown, right, I was like, how am I going to really show that there are tons of leaves without it getting too dark, And then I just thought, well, I'll keep it bright and local colors, and...
Yeah, absolutely beautiful. All right, so let's go to this next one here that you're seeing on your screen again. Now, this is why we need magnifying glasses.
Yes, because when you go very close, then you see the people with this particular piece. You actually see the person carrying their child and the person's expression, And I think that's the nice part of this. So they're actually now coming up where on the other piece you're at the mouth of the strip. This is actually coming in. So they're actually coming into the savannah now, coming around the corner, and it's just like the crowd coming with the truck and the Mukujumbis.
Beautifully capturing our culture, and of course something that we all know and love and partake in, well, most of us partake in every single year. Now this next piece, I saw this and I was like, I know where this house is, but I'm really not too sure the name of the street. So tell us a little bit about this piece.
Street. This is actually something that was commissioned originally by a friend of mine. It's for a house. And, it's an old Portuguese house, and I'm part of the Portuguese community. So I originally captured it for Joanne, and since then I've colorized it. And so she's about to get a little present.
Oh, live, wonderful. And is this the same process as one we were looking at with Carlos Street? Is this also the dye as well?
This is actually acrylic.
Oh, okay.
Acrylic and ink. So it has no dye in it.
So what medium, is there a medium that you don't use? Because just listening,
I don't really use oils.
Okay.
But not that I won't use oils.
There we go. Open to the possibilities. Now, as we look at these pieces, of course, very light, very vibrant, bringing a very energetic, light, almost angelic feeling. But the ones that we have down here, definitely in more of a creative, looser. I like that, a looser vibe.
Those are done because they're different styles, right? I mean, because I also do watercolor, I just don't have any on me. But this is pure acrylic, right? No ink, no dyes. But this is plein air work, meaning that I did it at All-Stars.
Oh.
Right? So it originally started on my iPad.
Okay. Oh.
So I went to All-Stars, and while they were playing, did the sketching.
You started to work. And that's beautiful as well, because you would have gotten, of course, the vibrations from the music, the energy all around.
Exactly.
And that is why we see it thrown
so
into
while we're listening to the pan, and yes, I'm an All-Stars fan, I did the sketching, and then I translated it into a painting after.
Wonderful. Now, I mean, this is just a touch of your work. Where else can we see your work happening? I know you have an exhibition.
Yes. So we have an exhibition coming in the Art Society. That actually starts on tomorrow, and it's at the Art Society, which is 3 to 7 St. Vincent Avenue in Federation Park. And then we have I also have a piece in Arnhem's One Spirit, One Stage exhibition, which starts on the 23rd. And that's on 27 Trackgate Road.
Wonderful. So for those of you that are just joining us, Tracey Alonzo is with us in studio, gracing our studio with wonderful artwork for the week happening Pulse of the People, February 18th to March the 14th. So definitely you have more than enough time to go and check it out, and then also at Arnhem's Art Gallery as well. Tracey, before we close our conversation, for those who would like to get in contact with you, follow you, where can we get more information?
Right. So I have my Facebook page is Trace Designs, right? And they can email me at TRACEYALONZO 2015@gmail.com.
Tracey Alonzo 2015/2015@gmail.com. Tracey, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you.
It's been a pleasure being here.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for loaning us your beautiful artwork for the week. We appreciate it.
It's my pleasure.
Oh, wonderful. Tracey Alonzo with us in studio as we continue our collaboration with the Art Society of Trinidad and Tobago. And stay tuned, because you never know who else is going to be in studio with us on this beautiful Monday edition of the Now Morning Show. We'll be back.
Well, everybody's shouting up right there.